Hi, I'm going to be discussing my proposal to research how flexitarians are perceived and experienced by meat eaters. So, first, some background. Reducing the consumption of meat has important environmental and social implications. Meat has been identified as a significant producer of greenhouse gas emissions and is linked to health risks such as heart disease and cancer. In spite of the need to shift away from meat consumption, the majority of consumers tend to view meat free diets as aversive. There has been growing interest in a group of consumers referred to as flexitarians or meat reducers. They are broadly defined as people who primarily eat plant based foods but occasionally supplement with animal products. Flexitarians have been found to be more positively perceived than vegetarians and omnivores, and omnivores being more receptive to reducing meat than avoiding it completely. However, the samples sourced in these studies were not exclusively meat eaters. The process of transitioning to flexitarian diet was explored by Kemper and found that social support and experimentation as an aid in the transitional process. And also that flexitarians are mostly motivated by health concerns rather than environmental and ethical concerns. However, absent from the research so far are a more in depth perception of meat eaters towards flexitarians. The question becomes, if people are more receptive to flexitarian diets, why aren't more people transitioning to it? Might there be barriers or perspectives that haven't been considered? This highlights the need for a study of the experiences meat eaters have towards flexitarians that haven't been explored in greater detail before. So this leads to our research question of how do omnivores perceive and experience those who intentionally reduce their meat intake? What attitudes or awareness do they have towards this group of consumers? So now we're going to go into the how of our study. This will be qualitative research to provide more in-depth insights into the phenomenon and will allow us to explore value, beliefs, and attitudes of our participants. We aim to recruit 5 to 6 unrestricted meat eaters who are over 18 years of age, Australian, and proficient in English. So, pre-briefing before interviews to ensure informed consent is gained, and we'll explain to them that all answers will be completely confidential, with no identifiable information. We will be using a convenience and purposive sampling strategy. Our data collection will be through semi-structured interviews, which will allow us to collect data on attitude, beliefs, and experiences. We will be using a critical realist lens, and basically what that is a research philosophy that assumes that objective reality isn't directly accessible through only observation. It is also seeks to explain how subjective social realities are constructed. Once we have our data, it will be analyzed using inductive, reflexive, thematic analysis, and the 6 steps are outlined in Braun and Clark. Reflexive thematic analysis will be used because it assumes that it is interpreted by an active researcher, not just purely inductively or impassively. And this will mean that reflective practices like a diary will be needed. Moving on to ethical concerns, first and foremost, rigor in methodology, attention to detail, and avoiding or at least acknowledging biases, especially in a qualitative study. Respect and care must be taken towards participants, making sure they feel comfortable sharing and not judged throughout the interviewing process. Potential issues we might run into connectivity and transcribing. This is an online study. We need to ensure participants understand before going in the importance of good connectivity to internet. Um, Issues with finding participants probably won't be an issue as it's a very general sample, but we are prepared to use social media posting and snowballing if that becomes an issue. Here's our timeline. The three in red are our research teaching periods, and it's important to note that in between those teaching periods, work will be continued to be done to ensure that these deadlines are reached. So finally, into the significance of the study, information gained from it might inform marketing campaigns, the viability of marketing, meat reduction to address those social issues mentioned before, can inform future quantitative study. And no study has looked at the largest share of consumers omnivores and how they perceive flexitarians, and that's a huge gap and may provide a deeper understanding to potential barriers and drivers of meat eaters. Thank you.